Colombia loves you, Obama. Colombia loves you. Colombia loves you, Obama.
Rock the boat. Rock the boat.
Hey, Obama all day.
Hey, come on, you're gonna push me.
So, who are you?
My name's Eric.
What are you doing, Eric?
I'm volunteering for Senator Obama.
So what are you doing on the computer?
We're compiling lists of areas in which voters will walk around, meet people, and push them to vote early.
That's what is it with you personally why you are volunteering?
I'm volunteering because I can't stand another 8 years.
Oh, pretty good.
Of what?
I think tomorrow,
Of a U.S. that only rewards the wealthy. Of a U.S. that thinks war is the answer to any problem. Of a U.S. that thinks that fairness is not a principle that we should believe in.
I heard in a shop someone said that people were afraid that U.S. would become socialist.
Hoping we get more
like Europe. What do you think?
I think, one, fairness is not socialism. Treating people that deserve basic rights, like health care, like education, that's not socialism. Socialism is everybody getting the same thing. And to me, if you look at Europe, I don't know what there is to be fearful of. You're from Holland, you enjoy public health care. That's a very important thing we need in this country, and we should be investing in, and yet we haven't. So, to people who are afraid of socialism, I ask, well, we've been living with quote-unquote democracy, and how good has that been? I believe in democracy, but I also believe in fairness.
What's your name?
My name is Karim. So yeah, I think, I took a plane and I was like, something big, so I was involved in London in some campaign events as well, because I live in London, so yeah.
You live in London?
Yeah.
And you are from Belgium?
That's right.
And now you're in Florida?
There we go, I think it's going to be once, in your lifetime that you've got something so big happening to you. Watching TV, I wanted to be involved in the process, so yeah. Well, Barack is not like anyone else. He's different, he's unique, and his life story is just amazing, He was a nobody, and he's 40-something, and now he brings people together, the energy, the commitment, and yeah, regardless of my involvement, I wanted to be here.
So there's something with hippies and Obama and the
Oh yeah.
What is it exactly?
Well, it's the feeling that people have is nothing like I felt since the 60s. It's just a feeling of togetherness and hope, and just wanting to have something that's better than what there is now, and that people are working together for it. And it's the first time that I've felt this in, since Kennedy was president. That there is some kind of country to work together on. It was a little bit during Clinton, but not that much. Nothing like there was.
Nothing like there.
And there is now. One of my most important things is energy independence using solar and wind. And solar energy and wind energy, clean energy.
Right.
And with the Republicans, there'd be no hope of that whatsoever, in spite of what they say, because they're so tied to oil and existing corporations that just care about nothing but the next quarter.
So what's your name?
My name is Kale.
And what are you doing here, Kale?
Drinking some coffee, feeling exhausted, being a little hungover. It's the day after Halloween. I think it's allowed.
Why are you volunteering?
Well, I was running my own business at home, and it started going down. I was a house painting contractor, brushes and rollers and sprayers. It was going relatively well. I've been doing it for about 5 years. I'm 27 now. I started doing it right out of high school. I started painting. Went into business for myself about 5 years ago, and when the housing market started hitting the tanker, the trades are always the first to go, you know, painters, electricians, plumbers, carpenters, because no one can afford to do home improvements. So my business was going downhill. I decided to get a job with a general contractor as his lead painter, because he'd been in business for 30 years, had a big customer base, said he never had to worry about work. Got a job with him. About 3 months later, he could no longer afford to pay me because he wasn't getting the work. He moved back to Seattle, closed up shop, and I was out of a job. I didn't have anything to do. So I figured it was probably better with my free time to try to come out here.
And what is it in Obama that really attracts you?
Well, I've come from the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland, and it's one of the more liberal places in the world. So I've always been very liberal in my own beliefs, so I'm going to go Democratic versus Republican anytime there's a choice. That being said, I never really have had a lot of faith in politicians, because politicians are the type of people who say what they need to say to get your vote. That's their job. You know, they're going to get elected, so, you know, if they have to lie or cheat and steal, that's what they're going to do. He strikes me partly because of the eloquence with which he speaks. As a little bit more trustworthy. He strikes me as a different type of politician than what we're used to, and I think that's one of the reasons there's been such a movement. Also, my family, my dad and my grandparents live on the south side of Chicago. They knew him before he was even involved in politics, when he was still a community organizer.
You knew him personally?
Yeah, a while ago, a long time ago, but yes, they did. I mean, he started out in their district, so Hyde Park, south side of Chicago, so you know, if I was going to be for one of the Democratic people, I would have to be for them, or else I'd piss off a lot of people in my family.
What will be the effect to the world?
I'm a little worried about that, actually. The campaign is being run on a platform of change. That's what his whole thing is about. McCain has adopted the same platform of change, you know, which is obvious to anybody who reads the paper or buys anything that's necessary. But it's not just going to be a change in government. It has to be a change in the way people live. You know, like, people have gotten used to buying things they can't afford and treating themselves to vacations that they can't afford and living the lifestyle of opulence that they don't necessarily make the money to meet. And that has to change, because that's why we're in the trouble that we're in now, is because people would get loans to buy stuff that they can't afford, and then they can't afford to pay off the loans, you know, so then the banks go bankrupt. And while I think it's all well and good on the campaign trail to say all this stuff, you know, I have slightly less than a little bit of faith in the American people to actually do it, you know. I know I'm used to the lifestyle I live, you know, and I'm going to go home. I don't have a job waiting for me back there, and I don't really know what I'm going to do when I get back there. But I'm used to going out and getting burritos when I want them, drinking the kind of drinks I want, you know, filling up my car when I need to, driving wherever I need to go. And I think it's going to be, and I live in the Bay Area where it's very liberal, you know, and for us to change is going to be hard, let alone the very red parts in the middle of the country. So the after effects are yet to be seen. I'm a little worried, to be quite honest, but you got to take the first step before you can continue down the path. So, you know, blind faith.